we get confused with what we do versus who we are. All right. We do what we do for the reasons we need to, so we can eat and have some nice things. But that's really not a definition of who you are. It sure won't be the same.
Name it something different.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. All right. Hey, welcome to the Chaos Project. We are really excited about what we have to talk about today. We've got a great guest. And as always, my bodyguard, Bear, has arrived.
How's it going, Chap?
Man, I'll tell you, I'm feeling pretty darn good today.
You're looking good.
Man, it's a gift. I can't help it. God gave it to me. But how's that hand?
Man, it's doing pretty good. It's healing nicely, man. I'm not heavy bag worthy yet, but
okay.
Getting back to the gym and getting back after it, and
well, good.
Working my routine.
Hey, man, I tell you what, I do want to just share with all those who are watching just a safety recommendation. Hey, fellas, ladies, if you see a propane tank on fire, I recommend you not grab it with your hand. It will hurt. Isn't that right, Bear?
Very much so. Very much so. I appreciate you sharing that with the audience.
Well, I think we're so transparent here at the Chaos Project, and that's what's great about who we are. We're just a couple of guys hanging out, having a good time, talking about life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Today we have an amazing guest, and I'm really excited to hear more about him. He's a young fella compared to me. He's a up and coming, get it done kind of fella. And why don't you tell me who you brought with you today?
Man, so today I brought my good buddy, friend, brother, Sam BMF Jones.
All right.
Sam is, we've been friends for quite some time, and, we share a lot of similarities. And but one of the most important things is, we hold each other accountable, man. That's we have that kindredship, that solidarity. And I will stop talking now and let you introduce yourself.
Well, I don't know that I'm worthy of that intro, but I'm grateful and honored to be here and humbled to be here. So thanks, fellas. What you guys are doing is pretty cool. But I'm Samuel Jason Jones, professionally Sam, personally Sammy. Everybody calls me Sammy. I just feel like a 6-year-old when I say I'm Sammy. But that's what almost everybody I know does call me. I hail from Fort Bend County. I say that because I live in Richmond now, grew up in Sugar Land.
Okay.
I still live in the county where I went to preschool. I'm still friends with guys that I went to preschool with, still get friends with guys that I knew in kindergarten through senior year of high school. So I still run with my same friend group from the beginning.
Awesome.
So it's pretty cool. It's a
That
pretty
is-
cool
That's
lifestyle.
impressive.
I mean, I've lived in 29 different places, so I don't have that connection. As I've gotten a little older, I'm not much older than you, just a little. But as that's taken place, one of the things that I do miss is having that long legacy of relationships in a community.
Well, it's a blessing and it's a curse. It when you got a bunch of 40-plus-year-old guys getting together on a tailgate, having a few, we're 17 again.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a good thing.
The wives will probably say, "Oh, not again, not again."
I try to space it out a little bit more, because the wife does not like it.
I got you.
But it's fun. We have a great time. It's a good group of guys, and I'm bringing Bear kind of into that fold to where he's meeting some of them. Like, man, you really know these guys since we were 10, 15, 20. Some of it, some of them I know 20 years, some 40 years.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Hey, friendships are great. We need that tribe. We talk about tribe a lot over here, and that tribe matters.
Absolutely.
And those long relationships gives you a lot of security in relationships.
Exactly. And they're humans that know you better than anybody else.
For better or for worse.
For better or for worse. Blessing and a curse.
Hey, absolutely, absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about how you grew up and how that turned you into who you are today.
Oh, man. So, son to a couple great parents, very faith-based humans. My father's probably the most religious human being that I know. And strict to his core. They still married today, still happy today, still live in Fort Bend County today. Unlike me, they've moved everywhere since I graduated high school. They moved to Tennessee, Austin, North Carolina, back to Tennessee.
Wow.
Now they're back in Houston since they retired. So, but grew up in Fort County. Like I said, school, I unexceptional at everything. And I mean from every level of school. Some would probably say I wasn't that good of a student, and probably got in a little bit of more trouble than I should have. But I ended up graduating when I was supposed to.
Wow, that's good. That's an accomplishment. There's a lot of kids don't even do that today.
Well, I probably shouldn't have done it then, but my parents' pocketbook helped fund a lot of.
They probably wanted you to get off campus.
Summer schools and night schools and credit by exam, and it took a little extra effort due to
right,
choosing some wrong choices throughout that high school and junior high career. But so graduated from Kempner High School in 1997.
Oh wow, okay, fantastic. So what'd you do after that?
Well, it's a fun story from there. So my senior year of high school, I actually did the delayed entry program into the Marines.
Sounds
first
familiar.
semester, senior year. Well, that didn't work out. I ended up getting a little bit of legal trouble. Senior year of high school as well.
Okay.
And got the one judge in all of Texas that said joining the military is not a punishment, it's a privilege. We're not going to let you do that. So we're going to go ahead and extend our punishment to you. Well, 2 years later, I kind of got off of that legal trouble and tried to join the Army. Well, I spent a little time in jail. And the Army doesn't allow you to join if you spent more than 10 days
That's right.
detained in a row. Well, so I actually, same thing, went to MEPS, took the test, did the whole thing, and then they told me no as well. 2 years later, I guess I was 21, it was June of '01, so I remember that pretty well. I got off of all of my legal woes, sat down with my father, and he was like, if you are willing to go to the military, I'll help you fund whatever you want to do post-military. If you want to start a business, you want to do something, I will back you.
That's a deal.
Outside of that deal, I won't back you on anything.
Oh, well, he definitely took your choices away.
He did.
That's good.
Well, it could be on your own volition. I didn't necessarily have to join the military, but I wanted to. Both my maternal and paternal grandfathers were both in the Navy.
Gotcha.
So, I went to a Navy recruiter, told him the story, and he said, look, if you'll join and leave this week, it was Monday, if you leave on Friday, we can push you through. I said, really? He said, but I got one deal we got to make with you. Don't tell anybody the truth. I said, really? He said, tell them nothing. He said, but once you get into boot camp, there'll be an amnesty period. And they'll say, what did you not tell us? Tell them everything. So he said, once you're there, they won't kick you out.
Hey, you got to love these recruiters, man. It must have been he must have been one guy short for the month. Yeah, we'll take this one. It's all we got.
And that actually took about 2 years to get my security clearance to do some things.
I can see that.
Because of that misled path to get me there, but it worked out.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So while in A school, 9/11 happened, which game changer for the military,
no doubt.
And then for the Navy, that was probably the only time I saw a guy standing watch with a weapon, like on the flight line and stuff, because we didn't carry guns. We're on boats. What do you need a gun for? So, but yeah, A school when that happened, then I checked into my command. I think the week after 9/11, maybe 2 weeks after. I think you get a little lead between the two. And then checked in, and then from there it was nonstop go. I mean, I think for the next 3.5 years we didn't spend any time on base.
You're out. Doing
workups, picket. We were doing gun detachments. We were doing Fallon, Nevada detachment. We did a Northern Edge detachment, Bering Sea, freezing cold, February. So it was pretty cool.
Wow. Do you like hanging out on a ship?
If you've ever, if you haven't been on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier, watched flight operations, it's intense. The first 2 weeks, your jaws drop. You're watching these things just like, wow. And it's an orchestra of chaos. Chaos project. Chaos. Absolute chaos. But once you get sucked into it, it's just work.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I was on first deployment was the Abraham Lincoln. And you remember '01, that was the aircraft carrier that Bush landed on.
Yeah. Were you there?
I was front row on the rope when he gave his mission accomplished speech, and we could see the golden arches of McDonald's in San Diego Bay as he was giving that speech.
Wow. So George is a personal friend then?
He is. We're buddies.
Okay. Cool. Great.
we had our moment on the flight deck.
I bet you did. That's awesome.
What did you join the military as? What was your MOS? All right, in the Army, we call it MOS, Military Occupational Specialty.
In the Navy, I was an aviation ordnanceman,
Okay.
which has several different roles within the Navy, but my specific role was to load weapons on F-18 Charlies, which was the F-18 prior to the Super Hornet.
Nice.
It was fun.
I bet that was fun.
It was fun. My squadron, our squadron, was responsible for the shock and awe. If you remember the CNN shock and awe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Big to do. We loaded, I think, 90% of the ordnance for that operation. It was, the pilots brought us into the ready room, let us watch it on their heads-up displays.
Oh, wow.
And right before we got to watch it on CNN, where they were talking about it there, it was a pretty cool night in the military.
I mean, that's an experience.
Absolutely, as an E
Definitely.
nothing.
And you know,
An E nothing, still mopping and painting and cleaning and whatnot. And as I tell that story, my favorite military story is, so we were there in Afghanistan during Southern Watch. And I say that because it has nothing to do with what we did in the Navy. But we did send some ordnance out that didn't come back. But for the most part, we were just watching over the ground support. I say we, I was just the guy on the flight deck.
Right.
But we pulled into Australia in, I want to say late 02, right before New Year's. We left Australia to go to Hawaii for my father to load on the aircraft carrier with us and do his little Tiger cruise. Well, we got extended from that point, did a U-turn, went back to Australia for a month to have our flight deck resurfaced. And then from there, we got to go back to the Arabian Gulf, Persian Gulf, however you want to call it. And I got to serve ice cream on the
No
flight
way.
deck, on the aircraft carrier mess decks for the E5 and below, or E6 and below ice cream. So I got to wear a little paper hat, a little plastic smock, and would you like sprinkles with that?
So can I take a quick pause there? I actually
Absolutely.
brought you a gift
Oh,
today in light of that experience.
Oh, that's fun.
So we, Chap actually procured these, man. And I have two different types.
hey, on the Chaos Project, we want
But we
everyone
brought
to
you
feel
some ice cream
comfortable.
cones.
Oh, my buddy Bear.
You know, and if you don't like that type,
I really appreciate
Well, these
the
are for
story.
this.
Just
We brought the
waffle cones as
officer
well.
version.
Oh, that's way too fancy.
so
Way too
I
fancy.
just, we wanted to give that to you.
When you said treats, I wondered what you were doing. Now I know.
And we tried to find an ice cream hat, but it's extremely hard to find those little paper ice cream hats.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, well, all you have to do is ask the Navy. They'll give you a bunch of them, whole stack of them. So I had a chief that was Texas native as well, and he was a great dude. I loved him to death, but I think that he actually put me in that wonderful role just to really screw with
To mess with you.
Really, really screw with me. Just to, I have
Maybe
a
you
little
just
ego,
needed to cool off.
And that was maybe it too.
There you go.
But as soon as we got back in the Gulf, he pulled me out of that wonderful role of serving ice cream. And, it was only about 35, 40 days of ice cream serving, which, I got to work in the bakery. And, a boat guy on the Navy, you get days off.
That's a good place
That's a
to
pro.
be.
Yeah, flight deck, you get no days off. It's 7 days a week. It's always working.
Yep.
As a boat guy in the bakery,
Yep.
I had days off. I got to sleep on Sundays every once in a while. It was
Oh my
nice.
God. Are you saying that the bakery is a wonderful place to work?
I mean, that's where the desserts are made.
There you go. All right. Culinary expertise.
That's right.
What
Absolutely.
a deal.
That's right. It was. It's my wave cap of my entire career in the military was serving ice cream.
I wish I'd have had more time. I was going to bronze one for you
I appreciate that.
and present you, but Bear said that was too much. So
It's really the hat. The hat is
The
the
hat's
best
the
part of the
thing?
whole thing.
we looked, we did, we tried to find a hat. We could not find an appropriate one for a
probably
man
wouldn't-
of your stature.
Probably wouldn't fit my big head either.
So
Takes a special hat.
well, I found lots of dunce hats, but I didn't think that would be appropriate either. So I tried, but gosh, that's you had some kind of fun stuff.
Oh, it was great. Truthfully, through that next, I think we got extended for. They always said indefinite. They never gave us any sort of indication. Well, I think we got extended on New Year's Day of 03 and stayed extended until May of 03. So we had 5 extra months. I think it was the longest deployment, and I could be wrong on this, since Vietnam for aircraft carrier in the Navy.
Oh my goodness.
So we did 11 and a half months on a boat. So do I like boats? No. Would I go on a cruise today? No.
No.
No. Mass people on a boat is too much.
Bear, did you ever hang out on a boat?
Just cruises.
Just the
Just
cruise
cruises.
Well, you're an Army guy, whatever. I was a Marine, so boats were cool.
Yeah, you need a ride.
Hey, Uber. I wish they'd have had Uber. I wish that company would have existed back when I was in. So we just called y'all taxis, but water taxi, because that's all we had. Man, that's pretty cool.
It was pretty fun. At the beginning of, I guess that would have been either Enduring Freedom or Riker Freedom. I don't remember. Like I said, it all kind of blurs together at a certain point. But they changed the name of it 3 times for us, so we never, OSW, OIF, OEF, and it just kind of kept changing. But in those 5 months, we got to do so much loading and unloading of weapons, and then seeing these pilots come back and say they got to shoot their guns and do extremely cool stuff, and let them watch us. I mean, it was neat. It was a really cool deployment to be on.
So do you feel like that kind of formed some thoughts or some attitudes in your life?
Absolutely.
That you carry today?
I still do today. It created a routine that I live and die by my routine, and it might sound cliche, it might not. I don't know. And you guys are both military, so you train until you never get it wrong. You don't train until you get it right. And we loaded all these blue bombs, inert bombs, and we loaded them on base 15 hours a day, every day of the week, and it was always, we never understood, like, what are we doing, guys? This is monotonous and boring, and these tiny little 25-pound little training bombs, and this is just monotonous and terrible. And why do we keep doing this over and over? And then when we finally did it in real time, it all made sense. Like, we could do this it flowed like something I never saw before. So
it became muscle memory.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And everybody knew their roles better than, and again, you guys both serve, so you have some exceptional humans, you have some unexceptional humans, and everything in between. So you have some high functioning and some low functioning, and everybody could still function at a high capacity, and it was amazing to watch.
I've always thought it was, even to this day. Now I finished my tours up 1985. I've been out for a while. Y'all probably couldn't tell that by looking at me, but I carry my age well. But even today, there are things that, like habits and things that I learned when I was in the military and did repetitively, it still haunts me today. I still do some of those habits, and I don't even mean to. It's just I still dress the same. I still align my lines when I put my clothes. Even with my blue jeans, I still align my lines. I
just told Tristan about a gig line. I was correcting him the other day.
Yep.
And I mean, he was just wearing, button-down shirt, jeans, and a belt. And it was I was like, son, come here. Let me fix that real quick.
Yeah, I don't even think about it. I just do it. And I think I've always thought military service was a great thing for young people, because most young people have absolutely no idea what they want to do. They really don't, if we're honest.
I didn't.
So.
And that's okay. That's okay when you're young.
Sure.
Well, yeah, it's expected. When you're young,
You're young.
You have.
It's one of the joys about being young.
20 years old, you got 50, 60, 70 years of life left in front of you. You don't have any idea what those next 50 years are going to be like. How could you know? How could you plan for it? How could you prepare for it? But the military, I think, sets up a very good base for discipline and understanding. And I'm not going to say it's all good, but it's more good than bad.
Oh, absolutely.
No, at least that's my way of seeing it. Like I said, I still wear shirt stays. I wear a suit maybe once every year. And I still have shirt stays on my...
Oh, hey, I still fold the back of my shirt the same way I did when I was in the military. Tuck it, push it. It's bizarre, but they caught me at an early stage in my life when I was learning how to do certain things and how to be a man and how to dress appropriately and how to take and respect myself as a man. And to this day, I'm grateful that they taught me some of those things. I really am.
Well, yeah, Army, Marines, they taught you guys how to do war. For the first 3 weeks of boot camp in the Navy, we learned how to fold and stencil. And I didn't get it at the time until you have to load a sea bag with all of your uniforms and all of your clothes and your civilians and everything for 6 months of time.
Fold and stencil.
Fold and stencil. And then you got to throw your laundry in this heap with everybody else's laundry. The stenciling makes sense. So it came into fruition. I got it.
I like it.
I didn't get it at the time.
I got you. I got you.
Nobody ever does.
No. Well, I think it's great when military guys can hang out. We can have some stories. We can connect. We tribe.
Absolutely.
It's one of our tribal experiences, and I think it brings us closer together because we can understand what we're talking about.
Yep.
And relate. I think it builds an affinity quick. So what happened when you got out?
When I got out, got out '05. I joined during that. You had reserve duty plus active duty. So I had some reserve duty to do after that. So I finally separated in '08. But in '05, my father and I hadn't worked a deal out yet, so we didn't figure it out. But I had a buddy that I met and it was a buddy. He's a good friend of mine now. I met him in Tahoe while we were doing a detachment in Fallon, Nevada.
Nice.
And the Houston Contractors Association was doing a function in Tahoe. So I drove over, which is probably like a 2-hour drive, and hang out. At this time, I didn't know him at all. And I'm sitting at a table with this gentleman, and we're hanging out and talking. He's talking about what I do and what he does. And he's like, well, when you get out, you call me. I'll give you a job. I said, okay.
Sweet.
Well, it's all about the people you meet and what they do, and it's crazy. But as soon as I got out, called him. Still a good friend of mine today. Said, hey man, I'm looking for that job. He said, I'm a man of my word. Let's go. So I went and sat down in his office, did an informal interview, just basically get the paperwork straight, and he hired me to be a plant manager for a stabilized sand plant. I did that for about 1.5 2 years, and it was almost as busy as my time in the Navy on a flight deck.
Oh my goodness.
It was 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, work.
And it was good for you.
It was good for me. It paid well. There was nothing wrong with it. It was just, I was ready to take that next step. So I called him my old man, and he backed up his deal, and I started a little small construction services company. My old man backed me to buy a Bobcat, a truck, and a trailer. And I drove around that truck, trailer, and Bobcat for a couple years, breaking concrete, tearing things out, drilling holes, pouring a little concrete here and there. And that was the first step.
That's great.
Yep.
Family?
So that goes to the second step. My brother-in-law and my brother-in-law already had a business. He was doing a lot of new concrete, new construction work, and he had some punch list stuff. So we were kind of not overlapping, but kind of doing the same thing. He's like, let's team up. And I might have said it, he might have said it, but we decided to team up, and it kicked butt. We had a couple years where it was just great. And I want to say that was '07 into '08, and a couple really good years. The company grew really, really fast, and we blew up really, really quick. Well, if anybody remembers what happened in '08.
I sure do.
Yep, most people do. Well, we found the bottom quick.
Gotcha.
And we overextended ourselves, which most young entrepreneurs do. And we made some bad choices that put us in a pretty nasty of a pickle, and
Right.
But we essentially went bankrupt in all ways.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha. That's construction.
it
Sometimes.
is, it is indeed.
Sometimes.
It is indeed. So that was step 2, and it took some time for me and my brother-in-law to get it back together and figure it all out. And we're super tight today, but
So what did you learn? From that experience, what did you learn? Because I think our listeners want to be entrepreneurial,
Absolutely.
but they're scared to be entrepreneurial.
Absolutely.
And today you're very successful. All right, in my eyes.
Understood.
My eyes are all that count because I'm doing the podcast. So I think you're successful. And you had some failures.
Absolutely.
And along those failures, you must have learned something because you stuck with it.
Yes. So what did I learn? The difference of need versus want. Big scenario within life. Need versus want. We wanted new tractors. We wanted new offices. We wanted new trucks. Do you need any of those things? Right. And learned that. And I'm still learning that today. I have not figured it out yet. I'll let you know when I do. It's still a hurdle that I get through every day. Right. But learning that, I don't want to say I learned this, or I think I read it or heard it recently, that the hardest thing within owning or running your own business is grit. The ability to endure and keep on moving forward. That's resiliency, but I heard it as the word grit. If you got the grit to deal with your day in, day out, then stay with it.
Right. Stick
with it and just don't quit. And it'll hopefully, if you keep working hard, trying to do the right things, it will find its way.
Yeah, I've played a lot of little entrepreneurial things over the years, and the one thing that I found, at least for me, that worked was just don't give up. If it's your dream, if it's your passion, keep doing. Find somebody or some of them. Find some people that can encourage you and be there with you and walk that journey with you. So when you're having that bad day or you're having that bankruptcy moment and you don't know what to do, you've got someone to talk to about it. Some wisdoms.
My father.
Yeah, and a lot of times, especially in this generation of today, everybody just wants it. They want everything now. They want to just get a business card, put their name on it. I am an entrepreneur.
Well, you can be a pro at anything right now. You can be a professional comedian, professional wrestler, professional golfer.
Everything's
And
got a pro.
I'm not
Everybody's a
digging
pro.
on that, right? I mean, if you're really good, you're a professional. But, I mean, you can put pro in front of anything now.
Yeah, I think the thing I love about your story and the reason we're doing this, Sam, is because not everybody has a difficult start like you did, but you stuck to it. You overcame. It wasn't easy.
Still, I don't think I've overcame it.
And you really didn't enjoy some of that mess you went through, but it is part of who you are.
Absolutely.
And for you to be doing in construction what you're doing today, which we'll get into in a minute, I think you may have had to go through some of those experiences to make you the gritty guy you are today, because construction's a gritty job.
Absolutely.
And everybody thinks it's all great once you've been for 20 years and you're successful and you don't have to do some of the stuff, but it's what you have to do to get to that 20.
And those hardships actually helped out. You know, those hardships that you endured early on in life as a young adult, you know, going through the military, learning the value of repetition, that operant conditioning, you know, we talked about this on the way in this morning, bro, when I was driving in and you were driving in, you know, make your bed. Make your bed.
Get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
My wife's still in my bed when I get out of it, so I...
Do we need to cut that part out?
Hey,
She gets up with the boy. I get up and go, you know, get the shakes out.
and if you're having a bad day, guys, look, if you're having a bad day, don't worry about it. Call Sam. He'll scoop you some ice cream.
That's right. Would you like sprinkles?
Absolutely. Chocolate sprinkles.
In Texas, we're real fond of bluebells, so.
This wasn't Bluebell. It was, I think they, you know, mixed the water and the powder in the little machine, and it, you know.
It was Navy ice cream. Come on now.
Navy ice cream. We actually did. Me, the wife, and my parents went to Charleston, South Carolina, and there's a carrier there, and I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
We did a tour of it. And, you know, I've always told the story about the serving ice cream because everybody else talks about how they, you know, did wonderful things. But I like to live down my ego as much as I can.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
But my dad, we're walking through the mess techs. He's like, "Oh man, there's an ice cream serving machine over there." I said, "This is a World War II aircraft carrier."
Ooh.
They had ice cream back then too.
Nice.
All about morale.
It's all about morale, brother.
Absolutely.
It's all about morale. Well, man, tell us how instrumental your family was in supporting you through your business startup, your business challenge, your business rebuild.
So, family, my mom is a saint, and my father is a, so I told you pretty much legal troubles. I told you some
Sure.
troubles there. I can tell you in 45 years, I have heard the man raise his voice one time. And to say that, it's almost like a deity. That's unrealistic to me. Like to know me 45 years and to know him like, man, how did you do that? So he's a larger than life character that really and truly 45 years. I think it was once in like the 7th grade, I heard him actually lose his composure like that. And that was it. And I don't even remember what I did to do it. I just remember that he did it. It's like, wow, that was a one and only.
Wow.
So instrumental, obviously, because I could never started the first business without him. And then now today, he's still the voice of what I need, where my mother is the voice of what I want. And I can ask her for anything, and she would never tell me no. It's
That's great.
That's my mom, and I'm a boy. Mama's boy. Whether you know, now that I'm watching my wife and son, I get it. And I get it more than I did before, but I get it. And he loves her way more than he loves me.
Hey, that's the way it works.
But so obviously I couldn't have started the first business without him. I couldn't have done several things post that without them. And even, we've all done the E1 tour. I think at that time I was making $800 a month, $900 a month. It could have been $1,000. I couldn't afford a car payment and insurance. There was nothing you could buy with us. My mom, my dad probably doesn't know this, probably about to find out today, sent me more money for my first 2 years of military service than I could even own up to, so that I could do things I shouldn't have been able to do anyway. And they gave us food, they gave us housing, and I still needed more.
Sometimes I don't know how I survived in the military without help. I mean, the pay that you get, right? They always say, you're willing to sign your name on that dotted line, you sign a blank check, right? You may have to pay including your life. But man,
it's because if there was a dollar sign on that blank check, it would bounce.
Hey, you guys,
you don't make anything in the military.
You young guys in the military of today, you guys have big bucks.
You got it made.
Oh, big bucks. I think my first paycheck in that realm of pay, $364 a month.
Okay.
Yes, sir. $364 a month. Now I wasn't married, and I had the beautiful barracks, and 80 other beautiful men, and so that was wonderful. So I had a place to sleep, had a beautiful kitchen, as long as I could eat within 10 minutes and get out. Had a place to eat, and I had my own recreation team. We called it running 5 miles a day and rucking and marching. I mean, it's better than CrossFit. I mean, I think maybe I lived the life.
And they paid you to do that.
And they paid me. I didn't know how good I had it until I looked back and said,
almost $10 a day.
Lord, what was I thinking?
But man, it's a generational thing, I mean, and
Sure.
I know guys in World War II would say that about Vietnam vets, and Vietnam vets would say that about, the subsequent wars and
everything's
the guys
relevant.
Everything's
relevant.
Everything.
Perspective.
It's all perspective. And so I just say that because it's fun.
It is fun.
We have a good time.
Absolutely.
And I'm really interested in how you what was the key thing in your mind that got you past that 2008 window?
So it, like I said, the bottom fell out. It was a bad time all the way across. Went through a divorce, went through a personal, didn't file bankruptcy, but bankrupt, and then professional bankruptcy. My brother-in-law was also my best friend. Married my sister while I was on deployment. Which, anyway, all of it was just kind of a big to-do. Well, another current best friend called and was like, hey, said, what you were doing over there, do you want to come over here and try to do it with us?
Oh.
We'll start something. They had a business that was already functioning and operating. He said, you want to come over here and just work for us.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes. So that almost came, I think, my first job interview. I was at it when he sent me a text message saying, do you want to do this? I was like, putting my hat back in the ring again, trying this again. Like, is this a good idea? Is it? I don't know. Still don't. I'll let you know. We're not done yet. Well, we did it. And he said, what's the bare minimum you can live off again? It's like, oh, here we are again. Back at that
We're
bare
back.
minimum level.
I'm back at the Navy again.
Back at the Navy
Great.
again. And, lived with a little more loss, had to sell a house, had to sell a car, had to go back to the bottom, and then kind of start living again as low as I could to make that company turn into something. And that was 2009.
Okay.
Still the same organization, still same company. And then just recently, after, I guess, how many years is that now? 14 years, 15 years later, able to finally be in a position because of my beautiful bride and wife, able to make an offer to that, my best friend's dad, because my best friend left me to go to another organization. He left construction to go to oil and gas. Good move.
Yeah.
Great move. I told him at the time, go, run as far away as you can from this construction world. I'm locked in. You're not.
Yep.
And he did, and he's done great. And I stayed with his parents for another 10 years after that, till I was able to, like I said, because of my wife, make them an offer, and sole owner now.
Wonderful.
today as I sit here in front of you all by myself.
That's awesome.
Man.
It is.
I was so happy for you when you told me that. Man, that was awesome, man. I was so proud of you.
All because of my bride. Couldn't have done it without her. Couldn't do it without her, and still couldn't.
Wow.
Wouldn't be able to.
Bear, I hear something, and tell me if you heard this. Did you hear sacrifice?
I heard sacrifice through the entire story, and that's one thing we all have in common is that sacrifice. But yeah, I mean, you sacrificed your well-being, your comfort. You sacrificed your comfort to do something worthwhile, to follow your dreams, to follow your purpose, right? And you're still doing it today.
Trying to.
Sounds to me like you had grit before you knew grit was cool.
Well, I don't know that I had it or it was forced on me.
Yeah.
One way or another, I found it.
Well, you know, we start off at about 60 grit, and as we mature and get wiser, get up to about 120, 200. Soften you up.
Softens you up. Life
Soften you
does
up a little
soften you
bit.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you try so hard to live up to your ego.
Yeah.
Chasing that ego, you'll never catch it. It's an unattainable. You'll never live up to.
Right when you reach out your hand, that ego takes one more step.
Yep.
Right.
Every time. And
Right.
It will never stop.
Right. And ego can have its parts in our life. I mean, we have to have a little bit of an ego just to step out and take charge of our circumstance. But too much ego, and next thing you know, you're all about you, and family's on the side, church is on the side, any kind of spiritual life is on the side, friends are on the side, because all of a sudden, man, life's about me. And if life had been about you over the last 15 years, you wouldn't be where you are.
Epic failure. Wouldn't have my wife. Wouldn't have my child. Wouldn't have anything.
Adversity will either break you or cause you to break records.
Absolutely. Well, through that time, I found religion. Like I said, I grew up in a religious house. I grew up going to church every Sunday, and I grew up. My father's deep into that. He's very devout. I mean, he's an old school Christian. Fire and brimstone style, and that doesn't reside with me.
Sure.
It's starting to, and I'm starting to understand it in a different way. But it was such a black and white line that I just couldn't. It wasn't relatable until I was 40.
Right. Hey, I'm a pastor. I've been a pastor for over 30 years. I get it. And we have to meet people where they are. Too often we're trying to get people to be something before they become something. Hey, I love people just where they are, and then I help to challenge and grow them to become what God wants them to be. And I'm listening to your story, and I'm just saying, oh, God's good. God's good. He just kept you going. He kept you strong.
And now today, like I said, I just took over ownership 6 months ago. So it's very new to me.
Okay.
As far as it just being me. Like it was always us. And I have, I think I read this somewhere, and I love Barry loves a quote. But I think he's a quote lover. If you succeed and you're a success, you have a million people to thank. If you fail, you have one person to blame.
That is a good one.
It's a killer. I don't even know who said it. But everybody to thank. I don't think I've made it successfully in business by any means. But I learn every day, and I try to be better a little bit every day, and then hopefully, it'll all pan out in the wash. But I put more into my family right now than I would anything else. So I love my business. I love
Beautiful.
it. I love doing it every day, but I love watching a 3-year-old run around.
I think sometimes we get confused with what we do versus who we are. All right, we do what we do for the reasons we need to, so we can eat and have some nice things. But that's really not a definition of who you are. You do construction.
Yep.
Who you are is what you're talking about in the backside here.
Son, husband, father.
That's exactly right, and that's what's life. We do the other things, but life really, from my perspective, is this.
Absolutely.
That family, that camaraderie, that encouraging one another, that building up of the people who are around me so that they can become everything they strive to be in the right way. Not by running over other people, because you're running over other people, you're really not being the man you're supposed to be. But you're walking beside men, you're encouraging men, you're finding young men and helping bring them up in the right way based on your life experiences, how to overcome. You've overcome a lot, my friend. You know? Now, you're not there yet,
No.
but who is? We never will get where we want to be, but we must always strive to go in the right direction.
That's right.
If you think you've made it, that's where your downfall starts.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what's next.
I have arrived.
And what?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm here one day at a time, right?
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about Dakota Meyer. You know, what's that? Live the dash. Beginning in the end, live for the dash in the middle.
Yep.
Everything is encompassing in that dash.
Yeah. I actually wrote a sermon, and I called it The Dash years ago, because we that's living. That's the living part.
Yeah.
That's who you are and what you are, and that's all the excitement.
Chet doesn't like me to wear dark colors, but I actually brought that shirt. I was going to wear that shirt today that you had got me. Process is greater than outcome.
Yeah.
It's about the process.
It's all about it. The climb.
You cannot grow if you don't hurt a little bit.
That's right.
You don't build your muscles if you don't lift heavier weight. You know. Now, obviously, it doesn't work for me, but that apple is getting me where I need to go, baby.
So I want to ask you about, you said your dad was very devout and the influence that he had on you and, your growth as a man, spirituality, right? We've had this conversation multiple times. How has that influenced your spirituality and where does that stand today? And what effect has that had on you?
My father, spiritually, or what effect is it?
From beginning to end.
From beginning to end,
The dash.
the dash. He personally was the example that if I'd have followed the whole time, I wouldn't have any of the troughs to talk about. It wouldn't be the same because, like I said, if he did wrong, he didn't show it to me. I didn't see it. I never knew about it. And I don't think he did. So I don't think he was hiding anything. I think he's just a natural born good human being. His dad was a larger than life human being, Rufus Jones, passed away now, but he was the radio operator for Doolittle's Brigade in World War II.
Wow.
My dad's dad was cool. He made E7 in 4 years.
Wow.
Right?
That's unheard of.
I didn't even know it was a real thing. I still don't know that it's a real thing, but I have his Chiefs cap and I have most of his accolades. So I've seen it all. He did it.
Wartime.
Wartime. So that was his old man. His old man was larger than life, very stoic, very, if you said a bad word in front of him, he would tell you that, that's the sign of a weak mind. That's the first thing he'd tell you. My dad always reminds me of that because I was a sailor and I am a construction worker. Unfortunately, I can say bad words from time to time.
So you're a linguist.
I am a linguist.
Okay.
I am. I can use it in many different forms.
There you go.
And he always makes point to tell me that. So throughout life, like I said, at a certain point, I don't want to say me and my father separated, but I needed to find my footing of who I was going to be.
Yeah.
And it separated from who he was. And now, so many years later, after we found our way back together, that business that he helped me start built this thing between me and him that, it's unbreakable today. So I back that all to his spiritual grace. Grace. I give the word grace more credit than probably most do, but his ability to accept his son's extreme flaws and never cast any judgment at all other than acceptance and saying that's who you are. And eventually it all came full circle to where I am today. Now I can look at him with a different light. We talk in a different light. I think he respects me in a way that he didn't before, and I now understand how I should have respected him the whole time.
Right.
So spiritually, he never lost it. I needed to find it. And today, my 3-year-old, every Sunday, are we going to church? Are we going to church? Are we going to church? Yeah. Now, and it's wild to hear him say that because, he's 3 and are we going to go to church today? And I think he just gets to play in the room. But me and the mom get to go get some growth and listen to it. And she's very devout. Her family's very devout. So spiritually, I feel like it surrounds me. It's all around me and all the humans that I know.
I think every family needs a 3-year-old accountability partner.
They sure do put things in perspective.
I think everything is a learned behavior. We learn to be sick and lay on the bed and do nothing. He's been sick and he doesn't even slow down.
Yeah.
You know, he might go to bed 15 minutes earlier, but that's it. The rest of the day, he's sniffling and sneezing and running like a wild man. Whereas, we got to lay down for 3 days and get lots of fluids and take lots of medicine.
Exactly. Exactly. He just chases that stuff off, man.
He doesn't know he's supposed to feel bad.
No, absolutely not. No. So, when you just look at everything that's going on right now, you're in your mid 40s, and life is grand, family's good. I hear great stories coming from you. What's next?
Meaning in life?
Yeah.
Got this kid, now I'm living for him. I'm trying to be the example for him that my father was for me. And that's everything. So me and brother-in-law and his youngest son were sitting around a fire at Thanksgiving the year my wife was pregnant with Jack. And we're talking to him. He's a 16-year-old high school kid now. And me and Cody are sitting around this fire pit and it's Thanksgiving, we're having a good time, good talk. And we're talking about his next steps as far as college. And he looks at both of us. He's like, well, neither one of y'all went to college. Why should I? It's like, so I'm sitting here thinking, I got this kid on the come up. What if he says those words to his father? Like, my wife went to college. She went to Baylor, got a degree. She's been at the same company for 15 years. She's high functioning success in all things that she does. Like, man, but his dad, high school graduate barely, college dropout definitely, military after a couple of attempts, finally got into one of them. So I joined, I signed up for American Military University, and I'm in my 3rd year now.
Excellent.
It's fun.
Studying
Weekly. I've only made 1 B.
Good for you.
And,
Look at you.
I never did that. I never got a B in school.
Overachiever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking it one class at a time. I probably will graduate in 3 or 4 years. There's no race. I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah.
So as far as what's next for me personally, that's my personal thing. As far as for the family, me and the wife, she's got 3 careers. I've got the one that I flail at. She's killing it all.
Yeah.
Fronts. But yeah, work.
Yeah.
Work, and more work. And I feel like as soon as you stop working, you need to work some more.
Good.
Next steps is all about getting him into a successful life.
Okay.
That's, my whole world right now is living for him.
Beautiful.
Living for them, her and him. But I really want, I feel like all of that flailing and failure and missteps and jogs along the way has put me in a wonderful path to teach that boy how to be a man, how to be a good man, how to be a gentleman, a proper gentleman in all ways.
That's good. Yeah, one of the reasons we started this podcast is we really want to help young men, older men become stronger men. And we really want to have conversations that just kind of show positives, challenges, sacrificial growth. But what does it take to really be a good man? How do you work at being good? Bear, that's one of the things Bear likes to say a lot. I hear him say it a lot. Are you a good man? And are you working at being a good man?
Are you good at being a man?
Are you good at being a man?
That's it.
The way of man.
The way of man. Yeah.
Jack Donovan.
Yeah. I think it's important.
I think it's both. I really do. Are you a good man? I don't know. I try really hard to be, and if I wasn't today, I'll try again tomorrow. Try every day. And then, are you good at being a man? I hope. I mean, don't you hope?
We wouldn't be friends if you weren't, brother.
But what you say? There's no end point. So
That's it.
as soon as you think you're there, you're probably going to start going the other direction.
So you had mentioned you were 45 right now, and you look like you're in pretty good shape, man. What's your routine like?
Oh, it's exhausting.
This constant pursuit of growth and being a good man and being good at being a man.
So the routine, my wife loves it. I get up every morning, 4:30-ish, get out. We found a stray dog 6 years ago now, Hondo, amazing animal. Well, he came into the house, chewed everything, ruined the whole, the doors, the walls, pick something, sheetrock. We realized that he needed to get the shakes out in the morning. So I started walking this dog, and at this time I was probably, not grossly overweight, but overweight. and started walking this dog every day, and I'd take about a mile, 20 minutes in the morning. And I was like, all right, so we started stepping that up. So since then, me and this dog, 7 days a week, 4:30 in the morning, we get out and do 3 to 5 miles, depending on what the day is. I try to jog. Jog. I didn't say run.
I guess.
Not say run. If it's a 10-minute mile, I'm killing it.
You get
Try to do that 1 day a week. 1 day of jogging. The rest of the time, we're just walking. Brisk walk, doesn't matter. Weather doesn't matter. Rain doesn't matter. We go.
So he takes you walking every morning.
Every morning. That's first thing we do. If we're running, we're stretching first. Otherwise, we're walking. We're just walking. After that, I do 20, 30 minutes of some sort of, I don't want to say CrossFit. I don't want to say high intensity, push-ups, pull-ups, kettlebells, sandbags, stuff like that. 20, 30 minutes, nothing more. Every once in a while, I might overachieve and do 45 minutes or an hour, but that's rare. And then I sit in a infrared sauna for 30 minutes every day.
Oh, cool.
And I do that probably 6 days a week. And then I try to sleep in on Saturdays if I can. Aside from that, I don't eat right. I don't really try to.
Okay, let's go ahead and put that one on your list. Going to start trying to eat right.
Life's too short to not eat good food.
Absolutely.
Good point. No
Absolutely.
doubt. No doubt.
I feel like I work it off. I don't drink a whole lot, but I'll have a few beers here every now and again, with a maximum of about 6. But I try to, try not to do anything too crazy, over the top in one way or another. Every day I do about 30 minutes of Spanish lessons. I try to read every day. I listen to a tremendous amount of podcasts with a bunch of extremely high-functioning humans to try to shame me into the next day to keep the effort alive. That's the routine. And obviously I go to work every day, but I start at 4:30. I probably don't get to my office till 9. I take my kid to daycare every morning. The wife picks him up, but it's on my way in, so it kind of works out. But his schedule is pretty much whatever he wants.
Gotcha.
He gets up when he wants. We leave when he wants. He's
Right.
the deciding factor of how my morning goes. Now, I answer my phone and respond to emails and do what I got to do till I get to the office. But before the office, it's probably 5 hours before I get to work.
Not bad.
Not bad. I try.
Not bad.
Brother, that's
Not bad.
impressive. That's an inspiration to me. I mean, I don't work out that much. I mean, I work out in long form, but
You wouldn't be able to tell.
there's no 6, 7 days a week, bro. I mean, Jesus
Do
told me to
something
take
6 days a
Sunday
week.
off.
Hey,
Well,
Sunday's just another work day for me.
that's it. A buddy of mine's dad, and it's probably very close to the Navy SEAL saying was, tomorrow will be harder. And the only day was yesterday. I think it's
That's
the
it.
Navy SEAL thing, but his dad was tomorrow will be harder. And life usually is that way. So rather than get ready, be ready.
There you go. I like that.
Try to.
Yeah.
Again,
Well, if you haven't been getting ready, you're too late when you need to be ready.
that's right.